The room was clean. Too clean. White walls. Silver lights. No warmth. No emotion. Jack Dawson, a human diplomat and soldier, stood in the center of the alien chamber, feeling like he had stepped into a lab. Not a bedroom, they called it the pairing room, but there was no love here, no passion. Just duty. Across from him stood Lariah, a tall, elegant alien woman with lavender skin, silver eyes and long dark blue hair tied behind her neck. She wore a smooth gray gown, no different from a uniform. Her expression was flat. Her voice mechanical. "I am ready," she said. Jack frowned. "Ready for what?" "The experiment," she replied. "To complete the human mating ritual. I will lie down now." Jack's heart thudded in his chest. He hadn't expected this. When the alien High Council invited him to study their ways, he thought it would be boring lectures, maybe trade talks, but then they told him about Pro Unit 42, a genetic program, where alien females were paired with other species to improve reproduction rates. Lariah had been chosen to test human methods. But what they called mating looked more like cold testing. There was no connection, no warmth. She didn't even understand the meaning of touch. She lay back on the bed, arms straight at her sides, eyes staring at the ceiling. Jack hesitated. "You don't want this," he said. "My choice does not matter," she replied. Silence filled the room. Jack slowly sat beside her. He didn't move further. He just watched her. "Do you even know what this is about?" he asked. "Reproduction," she answered. "No," he said, shaking his head. "Not for us. For humans, it's not just about making children. It's about feeling close, bonding, pleasure, comfort, love." Lariah blinked. "Those are not part of our process." Jack looked into her eyes. "That's the problem." Moments passed. The alien monitors behind the wall buzzed. Observers were watching through hidden cameras. Jack hated it. This wasn't how things should be. But then something changed. Lariah reached up and touched his hand. It was the first time she had ever done something on her own. Without orders, he looked down at her fingers resting on his. "I am curious," she said. Slowly, "Can you show me?" Jack didn't move for a long time. Then, gently, carefully, he leaned in and kissed her forehead. She froze. He didn't go further. Just that one kiss. Her skin tingled. It was warm, strange. Her heart beat faster. "That's a kiss?" she whispered. "Yes," he said. "Just a kiss." More silence. Then Lariah sat up. "Shall we complete the ritual now?" Jack stood up, almost frustrated. "It's not a ritual. It's not a test. It's not about finishing something." He walked to the other side of the room, pacing. "Why are you so calm?" he asked. "Why don't you feel anything?" "I was trained not to feel," she said simply. "We are told emotions slow the process." Jack stared at her. Then he walked back. He touched her face. She didn't move. "I'm sorry they did this to you," he whispered. "You're more than just a test subject." Then, after a moment of quiet, it happened. They shared a quiet, real moment. No cameras. Number. Pressure. Just human warmth, alien curiosity, and something growing between them. After a while, she looked up at him with wide, uncertain eyes and asked softly, "Is it over?" Jack's eyes filled with surprise and a bit of sadness. He didn't know what to say at first. He touched her hand and shook his head slowly. "No. Lariah, this is just the beginning." Lariah stood in front of the mirror, staring at her reflection. She touched her lips slowly, gently, as if they were something new. Last night, Jack had placed his lips on her forehead. Soft, warm, no pain. No order, no goal. It didn't make sense to her. There were no commands, no sensors, no test results. Just something that made her chest feel strange, not bad. Just different. Why did he do that? She whispered to herself. She had read about human mating behavior before. The files described it as inefficient, full of emotion, prone to confusion, but none of the files explained that small touch. That kiss. In her world, touch was for science, for control, never for care. But when Jack kissed her, it was something else. Suddenly, a knock on the door broke her thoughts. It slid open, and Jack stepped inside. He looked tired, like he hadn't slept, but his eyes still held kindness. "I didn't mean to confuse you," he said softly. Lariah tilted her head. "You touched my skin with your mouth." "Why?" Jack gave a small smile. "It's called a kiss. It's something we humans do when we care, when we want to show gentle feelings." She blinked. "But it had no function. You gained nothing from it." Jack stepped closer, choosing his words carefully. "Not everything in life is about gain, Lariah. Sometimes it's about giving." Silence. She stared at him. "Teach me." Jack paused. "Teach you what?" She placed 2 fingers on her lips again. "Teach me what that meant. The kiss. The reason behind it." Jack hesitated. This wasn't a joke to her. This wasn't some strange flirtation. She was serious and she was curious, deeply. So he nodded. "All right, but this time, no cameras. No scientists watching." Lariah gave a short nod. "They disconnected the monitors after you yelled last night." Jack raised an eyebrow. "You noticed?" "Yes, your voice increased by 43 decibels. It startled them." He laughed quietly. "Good." He moved closer to her slowly, like approaching a bird that might fly away. "Close your eyes," he whispered. "Why?" she asked. "Because I want you to feel, not just observe." Lariah obeyed. Her long lashes brushed her cheeks. She stood still. Jack reached out and gently touched her face. She flinched, but only slightly. Then very softly, he kissed her lips. It lasted only a second, but to Lariah, it was longer. Her mind lit up like stars in the dark. Warmth, pressure, calm, surprise, a soft pull in her chest. She opened her eyes. Her breath was unsteady. Her hands were shaking. That was a kiss?" she whispered. "Yes." Her voice was small. "I did not expect feeling." Jack nodded. "That's the difference between pleasure and procreation. We don't just use each other. We connect." "I have never felt this before," she said. "Not even during the pairing." Jack looked at her seriously. "Because that wasn't real. That was duty. This is choice." Lariah walked to the window. She stared at the alien skyline. Her world was clean, perfect, and hollow. She turned back to Jack. "I want more," she said. "Not just more kisses, more understanding, more of what makes humans do this." Jack nodded slowly. "Then stay with me. Let me show you." Just then, the door slid open without warning. 2 alien officials entered. "The subject must return for monitoring," one of them said coldly. "You are interfering with the study, human." Jack stood in front of Lariah. "She's not your subject. She's a person." Lariah stepped forward, her voice calm but firm. "I will go," she said. "But only because I choose to." The alien stared at her in confusion. That one small sentence changed everything. She had never spoken like that before. Never shown choice. As she walked away, she looked back at Jack. "Wait for me," she whispered. "There's something inside me I didn't know I had. I want to feel it again." Jack watched her go. He knew something had begun inside her. Something her world didn't understand, and he wasn't going to let it be destroyed. Deep underground, far below the shining towers of the alien city, a cold chamber hummed with quiet energy. Rows of glowing screens displayed data, brain activity, body signals, and hidden camera footage. On one screen, Lariah's face appeared soft, thoughtful, no longer emotionless. On another screen, Jack's voice echoed. She's not a test. She's a person. A tall, thin alien with 4 eyes stared at the monitors. His name was Scientist Velric, and he did not like what he was seeing. She is. Smiling, he said with concern. Another scientist, smaller and older, nodded slowly. That emotion is not part of the plan. Velric's fingers tapped the controls. Her brain pattern is changing. Since contact with the human, her empathy levels have risen by 62%. Unacceptable, the older one whispered. She was chosen for control, for logic, not this. They zoomed in on footage, Jack gently brushing Laria's hair aside, and Laria closing her eyes as if the touch calmed something inside her. The screen flickered. Then, something more shocking, Laria laughing. A real, light laugh. Velric stood quickly. Shut it off. Archive the moment, and notify the council. We may have a contamination. Meanwhile, far from the lab, Laria walked through the garden by the human quarters, bare feet, touching real soil for the first time. She looked at the trees, at the sky, at small alien birds chirping overhead. For so long she lived inside metal walls, cold halls, and emotionless systems. But now everything looked brighter. Jack sat on a nearby bench, waiting. She approached quietly. "Why does your world have so much color?" she asked. He smiled. "Because life needs color. Otherwise it all feels dead." She sat beside him. "In my world, we remove color from living spaces. It keeps the mind still." Jack looked at her. "And does it make you happy?" She didn't answer at first. Then she said, "No, it makes us forget how to feel." They sat in silence, watching the leaves sway in the wind. Jack turned to her. "Do you regret what's happening between us?" Laria shook her head slowly. "No, I only regret not learning this sooner." She reached out and took his hand. Her fingers trembled slightly, but she didn't let go. Inside the hidden lab, alarms flashed silently. Velric shouted. They touched again. Skin to skin. No command, no programming. The council sent a direct message. If the bond deepens, remove her from the facility. Emotion is a threat to control. Velric nodded grimly. We'll act tonight. Later that evening, Laria walked alone back to her quarters. Her fingers still remembered the warmth of Jack's hand, but when she entered her room, something felt off. The light was dim. The door locked behind her. And in the corner Velric stood waiting. "Laria," he said softly, almost with pity. "You've changed." She didn't answer. He stepped forward. "Emotion leads to weakness. Our kind evolved beyond it. You were selected because you were strong, but the human, he's made you fragile." Laria narrowed her eyes. "No. He helped me feel something I didn't know I was missing." Velric tilted his head. "Then you are defective." She stood tall. "No, now I am complete." Velric raised a device in his hand. A sharp blue light glowed. "Then we'll have to erase the parts of you that changed. You will forget him." Across the building, Jack felt something in his gut. A strange fear. He ran toward Laria's room. 2 guards blocked his path. "Let me through," he shouted. Inside, Laria stood still, refusing to run. "You can erase my memories," she told Velric. "But my heart already knows the truth." She closed her eyes and whispered, "And if I survive this, I'll choose love again." Just as Velric raised the device, bang, the door slammed open. Jack burst in. He didn't care about rules anymore. He grabbed Laria's hand. "We're leaving," he said. Velric stepped back in shock. "You'll ruin her," Jack glared. "No. I'll save her." Asterisk. The night was silent, but not peaceful. Laria sat curled in a blanket, trembling slightly. Her back against the wall of an old cargo storage room Jack had found to hide them. The lights flickered weakly above them. Outside, alien patrols searched the corridors. But inside, it was just the two of them. Alone and unsure of what would happen next. Jack crouched nearby, watching her. She didn't speak. She hadn't said a word since he dragged her out of the lab. Finally, he broke the silence. Are you cold? She shook her head. Are you hurt? Again, she shook her head. But her eyes, they looked far away, lost. Liraya, he said softly, talk to me. Her lips moved, barely a whisper. They were going to erase you from my mind. Jack took a breath, sat beside her and gently touched her hand. You're safe now, he said. No, she replied. I'm not. Jack frowned. What do you mean? She looked at him. Her silver eyes shimmered. I'm not safe. From what I'm feeling. Jack didn't speak. She continued, her voice soft, breaking slightly. When you touched me back in the lab, something happened inside me. Not just in my body, in my heart. Something warm. Something alive. Tears began to form in her eyes. I didn't know what to do with it, so I froze. I got scared. And when you pulled your hand away, her voice cracked. I felt empty again. She turned her head away and whispered, please, don't pull away again. Jack stared at her, stunned. He hadn't realized how deeply she had changed. This wasn't the same woman who once followed every command with no feeling. This was someone discovering what it meant to be human through pain, through emotion, through connection. He moved closer and held her hand tighter. I'm not going anywhere, he said. But I didn't want to rush you. I thought maybe I was moving too fast. Liraya looked into his eyes. Your touch didn't confuse me, she said. It saved me. Jack's throat tightened. He reached out, brushing a lock of her hair behind her ear. She closed her eyes at the warmth of his fingers. I don't understand everything, she whispered. But I know one thing. When you're close, I feel safe. I feel real. Jack smiled softly. That's the start. Real connection, real choice. That's what love is made of. They sat in silence again, but this time it was peaceful. Their hands remained together. Then, suddenly, a distant noise, footsteps, metal clanging. Jack's expression changed. He stood quickly. They found us, he said. We have to move. But Liraya didn't stand. She looked up at him, eyes afraid. What if they catch us again? What if they wipe everything? Jack pulled her to her feet gently. Then I'll remind you. Every day, with every word, every touch, every kiss, I'll help you remember who you are. A beat passed. Then softly she said, kiss me now. Jack hesitated, but saw the truth in her eyes. This time, she was choosing. He leaned in and kissed her soft, deep, and full of emotion. When they broke apart, her body leaned against his. I won't let them take this from me, she said. Not again. The broadcast echoed through every speaker in the city. This is an official message from the Galactic Council. Subject Liraya of Pro Unit 42 is now classified as compromised. She must return immediately for emotional recalibration and memory cleansing. Any human interfering will be treated as hostile. Jack and Liraya watched from a shadowed corner of an old supply hangar. The sky outside pulsed red as warning drones flew overhead. Jack turned to her. They've made you a target. Liraya didn't blink. Because I chose you. She stepped forward, standing tall, her expression calm but fierce. They fear what I've become. Jack looked at her. We can run. I have contacts, smugglers, off-world transports. We can disappear. But Liraya shook her head slowly. No, she said. I've run from myself my whole life, obeyed every order, shut off every feeling. Now that I've finally found myself, I will not hide. He stared at her. This wasn't the same woman he met in that cold white lab. This was someone reborn. That night, Liraya entered the council hall alone. Cameras followed her. Dozens of cold eyes stared from above. Jack waited outside, tense and ready to break in if needed. Velric stood at the center, arms crossed. You dare return without chains? He said, you have disobeyed every protocol. Liraya's voice didn't shake. I followed your orders for years. I was your perfect creation, Cold, controlled, empty. She took a step closer, but I met a human. And he showed me something stronger than all your system's choice. Gasps filled the hall. One elder leaned forward. You are a danger now. A corrupted experiment. No, she said. I am awake. They raised the memory wipe device. Jack burst in through the doors, shouting, Don't touch her! But Lyria held up a hand. She stepped between Jack and the council. Double quotes. No, this is my fight. She looked at Velric. You called emotion a weakness. But I felt love, and it made me braver than your entire system ever did. Velric's face twisted with frustration. You are broken. Lyria smiled gently. Then I'd rather be broken than empty. Suddenly alarms rang. Security rushed in. Jack pulled out his plasma tool. We have to go. Now. Lyria looked once more at the council. You can lock my body, but you'll never control my heart again. She turned, grabbed Jack's hand, and ran. As they fled, the council members watched in stunned silence. One whispered, We've created something we can't contain. Back in the night air, Lyria ran faster than she ever had. Sirens chased them. Jack led her into a hidden passage beneath the city. Breathing hard, he asked, Why did you stand up to them alone? She smiled faintly. Because you gave me a reason to feel alive. Now I fight for that feeling. Jack looked at her, heart pounding. You're not just a survivor anymore, he said. She nodded. I'm someone worth remembering. Asterisk, she woke up in darkness. Cold metal beneath her body. A sharp humming above her head. A strange taste in her mouth like wires and electricity. Her wrists were strapped. Her mind was foggy. Lyria blinked. Slowly, she wasn't in Jack's arms anymore. She was on a steel table. Alone. Robotic voice echoed above. Subject compromised. Emotional memory detected. Initiating reset in 30 seconds. No. She whispered, barely able to speak. A light beamed down from the ceiling. Scanning her face, images flickered across the walls. Flashes of Jack's smile, his hands, his kiss. Each image was tagged, to be deleted. Her heartbeat raced. Memory wipe, 15 seconds. Then boom. The wall exploded. Smoke burst into the room. Footsteps, loud, heavy, rushed in through the fog. A familiar shape emerged. Jack. Burn marks on his jacket. Blood on his arm. But his eyes burning with fire. Lyria! He shouted. She tried to answer, but her voice cracked. They're erasing you. Jack ran to the table, smashing the control panel with his tool. Sparks flew. The scan beam shut off. He gently unstrapped her hands, cradling her face. She looked at him, dazed. I almost forgot you. Tears slipped from her eyes. Jack leaned close, pressing his forehead to hers. His voice was quiet, fierce, full of pain and love. Even if they erase your memories, I'll make new ones with you. Lyria's eyes widened. Something inside her snapped awake. Not fear. Not panic. She gripped his shirt, held him tight. No more running, she said. Let's end this. Together. Jack nodded. Then let's finish it. Outside the lab, sirens screamed. Troops gathered, but Jack and Lyria didn't run. Instead, they stormed the main control room. With every door they kicked open, with every system they shut down. Something changed, not just in them, but in the city itself. Other test subjects began to feel emotion. Guards hesitated. One young alien soldier lowered his weapon and whispered, "She feels. And she's stronger than all of us." At the center of the council hall, Velric watched it all on the screens. She was supposed to be empty, he growled. She was never supposed to love. Another scientist whispered in fear, "She's spreading it, like a virus." "No," Velric said, trembling. "Worse than a virus." He stared into the screen where Jack and Lyria now stood hand in hand. She's giving them hope. Back inside the lab, Jack found the master wipe device. If activated, it could erase all emotional data in every test subject, including Lyraya. He reached for it, but Lyraya stopped him. "No," she said. "Don't destroy it. Reprogram it." Jack blinked. "What?" "We don't need to erase feelings," she said. "We need to unlock them." Jack smiled. "Now you're teaching me." Together they rewired the device, changed its code, turned it from a weapon into a key. A pulse burst across the building. Lights turned blue. Cameras went blank. Every test subject opened their eyes, and for the first time in their lives they felt. Back on the balcony, under the stars, Lyraya stood with Jack. She looked out at the new world being born. She took a deep breath. "They tried to take you from me," she said. Jack smiled. "But love isn't something you can delete." She touched his face gently. And then she whispered, "I remember everything." The stars shone softly above them, distant and quiet. Lyraya and Jack stood on the edge of the old Earth observation deck, a place forgotten by time, where rust met the sky. She looked at the countless lights blinking far below the city, alive and restless. She turned to Jack, eyes shining with something new hope. "I never imagined love could feel like this," she said softly, her hand reaching for his. Jack took it gently, holding her fingers between his. "You're different now," he said. "Not just because you learned to feel, but because you chose to feel." Lyraya smiled, the kind of smile that was fragile but strong. "I thought procreation was the end goal," she whispered. "The final act. But you showed me it's only the start." Jack nodded. "For humans, it's not just about making life, it's about sharing life. Pleasure, connection, trust." She squeezed his hand. "I want to learn it all. Not just the words, but the feelings." Jack's heart beat faster. "Then I will teach you," he promised. They stood together, quiet in the cool night air. The long fight, the escape, the pain, they all seemed far away now. Lyraya's voice broke the silence. "Do you think they will come for me again?" Jack shook his head. "Maybe, but now you're not alone. And we have something they can't erase, love." Her silver eyes glistened in the moonlight. "Love, the thing they said was weakness. It's my greatest strength." Jack pulled her close, their hands still entwined. "We'll build a future no one can take away." She rested her head on his shoulder. And for the first time, she felt completely free. In the distance, the city lights flickered like stars on Earth itself, bright, alive, full of endless possibilities. The alien woman and the human soldier stood side by side, ready to face whatever came next. Together,